Hi, my name is Ashley Anglin. I'm the Director of Research and Strategic Analysis for United for Alice. And in this video, I'm going to introduce you to Alice in Focus on Children and take you through our interactive data dashboard and web pages. So this new data release shows us that half of children in the US live in households below the Alice threshold. That includes children in households with income below the federal poverty level and those who are ALICE, asset limited, income constrained, employed. Households that have income above that federal poverty level, but below what it costs to afford the basics that are included in our household survival budget of housing, childcare, food, transportation, healthcare, technology, a small miscellaneous category, and taxes. So we can compare children to their household income to see how many are struggling. And unfortunately, it is half of children in our country. So we're going to take a look at the data, both at the national, state, and local levels. So let's dig in. The Allison Focused Children webpage, you can see all of the materials that are included in this research release, including the national research brief, state research briefs and sponsors, a state comparison of some key indicators, and the data dictionary, which includes all of the variables included in this release. You can also navigate the tabs below to see an interactive data dashboard, local maps, download those briefs and sponsors, see the committees that make this work possible, and view some additional resources on topics related to children and financial hardship. Let's start on the data dashboard page. This page shows the number and percentage of children in 2019 and 2022 who lived in households with income below the federal poverty level, who are ALICE or who are above the ALICE threshold. It includes two tools. So the first is looking at hardship by category. If you scroll down, you can see the drop downs here where you can select the US or an ALICE partner state. For this tool in the dashboard, you can also toggle between 2019 data and 2022 data. When you've selected your state and year, you can see the pie chart, which shows the percentage and number of children who are in poverty, ALICE, and above the ALICE threshold, as well as breaks down children by these categories, including age, disability status, housing, education, and more. These buttons are how you can navigate these different categories. So for example, if you select race and ethnicity, you can see the bars below repopulate with the data for your selection for the available racial and ethnic groups. One special note here for race ethnicity is that the census changed how it asked about race and Hispanic origin in 2020. So the 2019 and 2022 groups are not directly comparable in this data set. But all of the other groups do have the same definitions, and so you can make those comparisons year over year. Hover over any of the bars to see the percentage of children within that group. So for example, for Asian children, 9% were in poverty, 29% were ALICE, and 61% were above the ALICE threshold. Scrolling down, you can see the numbers behind those percentages in the bars. You can use this to make any additional calculations or combine any groups to get different percentages for these variables. Click on different categories here to see the bars repopulate for those groups. So for example, by education, health insurance, home internet. Below these bars, you can also find the second tool of the dashboard, which is on intersectional hardship. So this tool allows you to combine intersecting categories that affect hardship in different ways, such as children who live in renter households, who are Hispanic, who have a disability. You can combine these groups and see the number and percentage of children of that group who are in poverty, ALICE, or above the ALICE threshold. So for example, here for our partner state, you can see the percentage of children who are, for example, Hispanic, who have a disability, and who are in renter households. So as you make the selection, the pie will change to show those numbers in percentage and the total percent below the ALICE threshold in the middle. You can also use the filter tool to remove any filters or also reload the page. Technical details are below. The next page is the local maps page. This is where you can see children in financial hardship by state and by public use microdata area within states. These areas we call PUMAs are US Census geography made up of about 100,000 people. So first, you can see the range in children in financial hardship by state. And that ranges from 33% of children below the ALICE threshold in North Dakota to 58% in Mississippi and New Mexico. You can scroll below the map here to see each state and the number of children above the ALICE threshold who are ALICE or who are in poverty, as well as the grand total of children in that state. On this page, you can also zoom in on ALICE partner states and see that data again by PUMA. So in areas that are more densely populated, these are smaller areas. In areas that are more rural or more sparsely populated, you can see that they cover a larger portions of the state. This is looking at all children, so you can see the percent below the ALICE threshold, and you can also hover over to see the names of those public use microdata areas, which can help pinpoint the location for those. You can also select a category and a subcategory to change the map. So here, let's change it to living arrangements and children living in married couple households. And you can see how the map repopulates to show the percentage of children below the ALICE threshold in that selected group. And you can switch those up and take a look, looking at grandparents in household or no grandparent in household. And again, scrolling below the map to see the numbers there as well. And these maps are available for all of the categories that are included in the other dashboard tools. The next page is the state briefs and sponsors page. This is where you can download the different briefs that are available for each of our ALICE partner states. So select the state from the dropdown, and you can see the page populate with the focus brief, which you can click the link or click the picture. You can also see the sponsors in each state for our states that have those partners and sponsors. The committees page here shows the different committee members for the ALICE in Focus National Advisory Committee on Children. These members represent a range of organizations, including academic institutions, advocacy and public policy organizations, early learning and childcare experts, and others who helped advise on this work. So a big thanks to those research advisory committee members. And then finally, on the resources tab, we have some additional resources that focus on topics related to children in financial hardship. We know this research release is only one piece of the puzzle. There's a lot of other great work going on in these areas. And so we wanted to share some of those additional resources for those of you who would like to learn more and dig into some of these additional topics. Well, that covers all of the materials that we have available with this research release on ALICE in Focus in children. And while the magnitude of the problem really is daunting, and we can see it clearly in this data, we're really heartened by the work that our partners across the country are doing to make a difference. So we hope you can all continue to use this in your work, and together we are united for ALICE. Thank you.